You have probably heard the tragic news by now that one soldier was run down, killed by a recent convert to Islam, and another soldier was shot and killed in Ottawa. The one run down was in Quebec. The man who killed the officer with his car had been followed and had been watched by Canadian federal authorities for some time. He was a recent convert to Islam and was posting things on his Facebook page, indications of his love for and appreciation of and respect for Islamic Jihad. There are a lot of questions as to why this person was allowed the breadth that they were so that they could commit this horrific act. As of the time of this taping, the gunman in Canada's capital has not been identified as a Muslim either way, yes or no. He is also dead. They shot him. He was seen, however, wearing a scarf of some kind, something that made someone think, oh, he's wearing a Muslim head covering. People are in a state of shock. Now, for those of you who remember, we covered last week that ISIS released a statement calling upon Muslims everywhere to kill any soldiers that they could in countries that were fighting against Islamic State, the ISIL or ISIS terrorists, or whatever you want to call them, in Syria and Iraq. And the fatwa said no other judgment is needed. You don't have to go to any other imam or any other Muslim cleric and get a second opinion. The judgment is final. If you can kill them, please kill them. Now, the distressing part of this, or one of the distressing parts of this for me, is the concept of lone wolf terrorists versus those that are associated with a terrorist group. Now, please follow this line of thinking because it's really critical. One of the press reports that I read said that there's no confirmation yet that either of these two killers in Canada were officially associated with a terrorist group. What does that mean? Do they give them a card? Do they go and stand in front of a little camera and smile, and then they emblazon it on the side like a Costco card or a Sam's Club card or a driver's license? I'm now officially associated with ISIS, Al-Qaeda, Hezbollah, Hamas. It doesn't have any meaning. What people are starting to see is that when they say the Shahada, all right, I'm going to quote it for you in English. The Shahada, the declaration of faith. There is no God but God, and Muhammad is his apostle. Or there is no God but God, and Muhammad is his prophet. That is their statement of faith, okay? When somebody declares that statement in the presence of a witness, they are a Muslim. They don't have a baptismal rite. They don't have an altar call. It's simply the declaration. There is no God but God, and Muhammad is his prophet. So, once they embrace that, and they say, I am following the God of Muhammad, and I will follow the example of Muhammad, and I will live by the dictates of Muhammad. Friend, that's what they need. They've got what they need. Because if you study the life of Muhammad, you see Muhammad killing people with his own hand. You see Muhammad authorizing or ordering the summary murder of people because they dared to criticize him. You see Muhammad launching jihads over and over again. Part of my master's research required that I do a lot of digging into Islamic terrorism. And one of the studies that I did was to look at the hadith, the record of Muhammad's words and deeds that are not in the Quran, and I believe I looked at Sahih Bukhari, it might have been Sahih Muslim, but whichever of the two it was, there was just over 100 uses of the word jihad by Muhammad, okay? For the vast majority of those uses, it meant fighting and killing, and if need be, dying in the way of Allah. That's what it meant. So when someone says there is no God but God and Muhammad is his prophet, and they embrace that with their whole heart, it's not going to take them long to see that Muhammad was the originator of jihad, that he is the fountain of jihad to this very day. And so whether or not these murderers in Canada are card-carrying members of ISIS or ISIL or Al-Qaeda or Hamas or Hezbollah, it doesn't matter. Once they make that profession of faith, they can immerse themselves in the words and deeds of Muhammad. They can immerse themselves in the words of the Quran. And they can come away with a very clear understanding that according to Muhammad and according to Islam, it is their duty to fight the infidels.